Hello there everyone, it's time to talk about the DLCs for Stranger of Paradise. There are 3 DLCs planned for the game in its season pass, and their titles have been confirmed for a few weeks now, as Trials of the Dragon King, Wanderer of the Rift, and Different Future. But in the last few days, there has been a new Famitsu interview with Tetsuya Nomura, and some of his answers are wild and confirms one of my greatest theories. Going on in this video will contain spoilers of Strangers of Paradise story, keep in mind, but if you're interested in more Final Fantasy content, subscribe and check out the rest of my channel. So, the DLC names have been confirmed before and we know somewhat what they will focus on in them. Team Ninja has also mentioned they would like to introduce new weapons, jobs, and also expand on the existing job system. There's also a great chance in encountering new monsters and enemies according to that previous interview. The first DLC, called Trials of the Dragon King, will focus around Bahamut the Dragon King, and potentially solving a challenging dungeons for him, as he was also a quest giver in Final Fantasy I, but not much else is known about it. People speculate potential summoner job here, but I have my doubts as it would mean lots of work for the game. It would be nonetheless amazing. Wanderer of the Rift's second DLC is confirmed to be about the mysterious warrior Gilgamesh, who has been one of the characters in the Final Fantasy universe who is able to travel between the main titles using the Rift and acquire new weapons in his arsenal. There are also no news about this DLC, but personally I think this DLC has massive potential for crossovers and Easter eggs since Gilgamesh is able to travel between Final Fantasy worlds. If they ever plan to do crossovers or other Final Fantasy fan service, this would be the DLC for it to allow the players to visit areas and bosses from other Final Fantasies. Imagine traveling to the world of Final Fantasy VII, fighting Sephiroth or the weapons, going to Final Fantasy X, meeting Tidus or Auron, or Final Fantasy IX, or any of the Final Fantasies, potentially getting armors, weapons, skins, or any kind of cosmetics for your characters. This would be the DLC to do it. The big news for this video, on the other hand, concerns the third DLC, Different Future. This DLC has been generally considered by lots to be just an average alternate ending to the game, which I consider fairly bland and have my own wild theory. As we know in Stranger of Paradise, it is a prequel to the real Final Fantasy I, and we haven't really became the real Garland or met the Warriors of Light until the very end of the final cutscene. In fact, Jack Garland in the main story has changed the future by defeating and cutting Cornelia from the Lufenians, altering and creating a new destiny for the world. But in reality, the changed, or shall I say, different future, is the actual Final Fantasy I timeline. What else could be the perfect ultimate boss fight or ending DLC you could imagine for Stranger of Paradise? A prequel to the first Final Fantasy, if not the ultimate battle against the real Warriors of Light. It all makes sense, everything ties together, and would even explain the odd design decision to not include the iconic Warrior of Light or Garland armor set in the game, since it is going to be the final DLC, the final showdown. To my surprise, Tetsuya Nomura just gave an interview to Famitsu magazine and made me super excited. He confirmed that there will be a battle that continues right where the final cutscene ended, meeting the Warriors of Light in Chaos Shrine Throne Room. He also mentioned weapon missions that matches the previous interview from Team Ninja, that we will get new weapons in the DLCs. Not only that, but he jokingly also pointed out that Different Future also contains the letters DFF and NT, where he is referring to Dissidia Final Fantasy and Dissidia NT. This confirms a Warrior of Light battle, but it won't even be the final boss. According to him, the final battle will be something no one can even imagine right now. It has already been discussed, and I also had my own feelings that this game awfully resembles a Dissidia Final Fantasy title, but this all but confirms it. Not only this interview, but Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja has already been responsible for the Dissidia titles, being the developers for both Dissidia NT and the mobile Dissidia Opera Omnia. It wouldn't be that unimaginable that Stranger of Paradise is actually a Dissidia title. And to go into an even wilder speculation, Final Fantasy Origin could even be the beginning of a new era of Dissidia games with this action RPG formula? Who knows, but I'm certainly excited for the future of this game, especially after the giant quality of life patch they have released recently, showing massive support for the game and caring about the players. Team Ninja's previous game Neo 2 released a DLC every 3 to 4 months, so we can expect the first DLC news this summer, I hope. What do you think? What else will these DLCs include, or what would you like to see? I will be covering the news for Stranger of Paradise and we'll keep you all informed. But until then, see you all next time.